So this story right here is wild, man. I don't know how many of you guys have heard of this. I bet a bunch of you have by now. But there's this streaming platform called Kick. And, I guess they originally were basically competition to Twitch. Twitch was known for having some sort of strict rules around what they allow and what they don't allow and what they suspend and all that stuff. And so Kick was like, hey, we're more of a free-for-all. We're more of a Wild West type situation over here. The rules are more lenient. And, you have a bunch of people stream on Kick. I guess Aiden Ross, is one who's one of the most prominent people who streams on Kick. But you had a horrible thing that happened, the other day where there's this group of French guys, I guess in their 20s and 30s. They look at least like they're in their 20s and 30s. And what they did is they had this stream marathon where they have this one guy who's a little slow, who's part of their group. His name is Jean Pormanov. And they basically humiliated this guy, hit him, force-fed him some shit that may have been toxic. Effectively, they tortured dude on air. And I believe it was supposed to be like a 10-day stream or something like that. They tortured him on air. Apparently the whole point of this group is literally just torturing this guy, right? That's the whole point. And so they had some marathon 10-day stream where they were doing exactly that. And come to find out, dude was tortured to death. Now, I think it was probably, my guess is that the death was probably more because of something that they gave him, some toxic thing that they made him swallow. So he died from whatever substance he was forced to ingest. But the whole story is just absolutely catastrophic because the fact that this was allowed in the first place is wild. And by the way, you do yourself a favor and go watch the Abba and Preach video on this because in that, they speak French, and obviously these are French streamers, and so they can understand what they're saying in their native tongue. And basically, there were moments where the idea that, the guy was in on it and he was just having fun and he was cool with it and everything, that's not true. There were moments where the guy tried to fight back and panicked and said this is going too far and stop it. There was also just a horrible thing about communication he had with his mother, where his mother was concerned for him and saying, this has gone too far. You gotta shut this down. And Jean Pormanov was like, I don't think they're not letting me leave. They're not letting me leave. So he's basically kidnapped and tortured to death. And it was all while a lot of people were watching it. A lot of people were watching it and seemingly enjoying it, right? I said to Crystal that this story makes, remember the show Jackass, the MTV show Jackass? If you're around my age, you do. But this makes those guys look like angels. Because those guys, they were doing crazy shit. But, 99% of the time, they're doing crazy shit where, it's only your own health and safety on the line, right? And it's not like you're torturing somebody else and forcing them to do something they don't want to do. So, just a horrible, horrible scenario. But then we also learned this. Ready? Look at this. Kick founder and CEO Ed Craven is listed as the 5th top donator to Jean Pormanov, the man who recently died mid-livestream on the site. Viewers would gift subs as acts of violence and physical and moral humiliation were conducted on the stream. Kick CEO had donated 150. From the New York Times, quote, in live stream broadcasts, viewers would egg on the streamers as they conducted acts of violence and physical and moral humiliation on Mr. Craven. So literally the Kick CEO was watching this, enjoying it, and donating. Meanwhile, of course, when this happened, everybody went well, where the fuck is the leadership of the company? Why didn't they step in? Why didn't they fucking ban this? How is this allowed? Crystal told me there was another scenario on some other streaming site, I think it was, where, was it Kick? I don't know. It may have been Kick, but I don't know. Where some guy left his girlfriend or his wife outside in the middle of the winter in Russia or some shit, and she froze to death. Right? And look, it begs the question, and I'm curious what y'all think of this, but I don't know. Are we getting worse? Are we getting more evil? Are people just have we collectively lost our fucking minds? Is there just mass psychosis and mania overtaking the world at the same time? Or were we always this disgusting and brutal and fucked up, but it was just under wraps for a little bit there, right? Because the thought of a site like this existing and something like this happening, even just going back, 12 years, 15 years, it's nah, you know, it used to be things that were underground were fucking underground. You know what I'm saying? Like there was that thing when I was in like high school or whatever called Faces of Death, which is like, oh, here's videos of people dying or whatever. And it was like, ooh, if you watch that, ooh, that's crazy. Now it's like a popular streaming site that has celebrities who are like pretty big internet celebrities. They're hosting torture sessions where somebody gets tortured to death. I mean, Aiden Ross is on Kick. Mr. Beast made an appearance on some Kick show like the week before this dude got tortured and killed being live streamed on Kick. Mr. Beast, you know, the guy who all the fucking like 8-year-olds watch, right? What are we doing? So are we just getting more evil? And look, I have to say, this has changed my mind about something, because I've always been this massive free speech bro. And I've always been the guy who says like, yeah, let everybody talk, and in the marketplace of ideas, the better ideas will win out in the long run, and, you know, it's better to have fewer rules about stuff like this. But then you see this, and you realize, like, oh, wait, I was too optimistic about how moral we are collectively and how intelligent we are collectively. Like, I naively thought that, yeah, there's enough good people and enough morality in the world where if you give people freedom and space, nobody would set up a show where they fucking torture somebody to death in front of hundreds or thousands of people. I naively thought, like, of course, if you're given, if you're gifted a website that is a live streaming site that is lenient with its terms of service and its rules, well, obviously, nobody's going to take advantage of that and end up doing the most disgusting, depraved shit you've ever seen. But that's literally exactly what happens. It's a race to the bottom. If you don't have rules, if you don't have regulations, if you don't draw clear moral lines, people will exploit that shit, and they'll go lower and lower and lower and lower in a sad attempt to try to get more donations, right? And so I was wrong. I was flat out wrong. You need rules. You need regulations. You need the government to step in a scenario like this. I hope the motherfuckers who tortured this poor guy, I hope they end up locked up for manslaughter. You know, I don't think they were actively trying to kill him, but they ended up killing him, right? Also, they definitely kidnapped him. He wanted to leave. They didn't let him fucking leave, right? And then also all these sick, disgusting fucks who watched it. How do you fucking sleep at night? How does the Kick CEO sleep allowing this on his website? No problem whatsoever. A man being tortured to death. How do you sleep at night? The fact, if you enjoyed watching this shit, do you know that you're a shitty person? Do you know that you're bad? Do you know that you're evil? Do you know that you're demonic? Because you are. You are that. And I'm secular. I don't even believe in God, but I believe in good and evil. And what we see here is fucking evil. So do you know that that's what you are if you're watching this? That, hey, I shouldn't be enjoying this. Why am I enjoying this? Does that happen in your mind? Or are you such a sick, depraved, disgusting fuck that you watch it and you're like, you love it and you don't even think there's anything wrong with liking it? Some poor guy getting fucking tortured to death. Were you under the illusion that it actually was consensual? That, oh, Jean just wanted to be tortured. Are you really that fucking stupid? There's no way you're that stupid. Are you? Are you that dumb? So this throws me for a fucking loop, man. And there's a lot of people who should go to prison, but I don't know. In the world we live in now, I don't know. It seems like there's not much accountability for much shit, right? And so it's very possible nobody ends up going down. It's very possible Kick is not going to update the rules and regulations and not allow this kind of stuff. But it makes me sick that this is the kind of world that we live in now. That, you know, I've been saying this a lot, and this happened in France, obviously, but there really was some sort of weird sea change, I think, during the Trump era, where it used to be the case that if you were bad, you at least had to try to pretend to be good, right? But in the Trump era, everything was flipped and reversed. So it became a virtue to be an asshole. Everything that we were taught as kids, like, this makes you a good person. Be honorable. Be true to your word. Be kind. Be empathetic. Like, all of these things, they threw it out. And they said, no, it's virtuous to be incredibly selfish and greedy and narcissistic, and going with your gut instinct on everything is better than doing research and learning the nuances and the facts and adjusting accordingly. So like, all the values that we thought were the right ones, that are the right ones, were flipped and reversed in the Trump era, where now, you know, you're inauthentic, or you're a bitch, or you're a wonk, or a nerd, or whatever, if you abide by those old school values. And here we are. This is the result, right? This is the result. And it's not a coincidence that at the same time shit like this is going on, we have concentration camps being built in the United States. You have people being sent to CKED, the concentration camp Gulag in El Salvador. You have people being sent to Guantanamo Bay. Trump wants to send 30,000 immigrants to Guantanamo Bay. People being sent to alligator Auschwitz, even though that shit, a judge just said, shut that bitch down because it's totally illegal. You have, we'll do a story either today or tomorrow on Kilmar Brago Garcia and what they're doing to him, even after he was tortured, even though he's a totally innocent man. You have all that going on. You have the bombings of all these different countries. You have all this going on. It's not a coincidence it's happening at the same time as shit like this. We've lost our fucking minds collectively. Nothing is held sacred. People don't believe in good and evil anymore, and it's a dark world. That's a dark fucking world. So in a world that made sense, a lot of fucking people would be going to jail as a result of this. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. And that really is disturbing to me. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.